Today I'll be exposing what could be the biggest reason why, despite your efforts, you're still living with chronic back pain. If you're new here, my name is William, and I teach people with unresolved chronic low back pain how to heal themselves with the use of their mindset, movement, and a smarter strength approach. 15 plus years ago, I was diagnosed with an L5-S1 disc rupture along with degenerative discs above that site. And for over 6 years after that diagnosis, I lived with relentless chronic low back pain that ruined that season of my life. And despite my efforts with physical therapy, decompression therapy, massage therapy, chiropractic adjustments, nothing seemed to work, even when I would reach out to people who I thought were really good at what they did around the internet. And in return, all these dead ends planted a seed deep inside of me that really would create the biggest roadblock for me to see lasting relief for the next 6+ years. And that seed was fear. Fear consumed my life. It consumed every movement that I made, every exercise that I tried, to the point where I just couldn't trust anything that I was doing, anything that people were giving me, because A, it wasn't working, so that would just keep me on this loop. But I also had a lot of fear around everything that I would try because of the pain, because of nothing seeming to work. Now, I eventually had to overcome that fear in order to see lasting chronic back pain relief. And what I want to do is give you 2 reasons why fear is actually holding you back from seeing the results that you want to see. The first reason is what I call your protection mechanism. See, your diagnosis, your symptoms, the severity of these things, the randomness of these things create a fear within your body, which in return keeps you frozen, wanting to protect yourself, which triggers what I call your protection mechanism. This is your body's natural response of tightness, tension, achiness, pain, signaling from your brain saying, hey, things are not well. We need to just keep him or her from doing that, which creates guardedness, which creates a hypervigilance, which triggers this protection mechanism and increases the symptoms and the severity of them that you're experiencing. So what happens is you live in this cycle of fear, of this protection, right? These symptoms get worse. They stay around for weeks and then months turn to years and years turn to decades. And now it seems that you have new symptoms, and the symptoms are random. Sometimes they're here, sometimes they're not, but you always have the underlying pain, so something must be broken or damaged. So you find that the only option that you have is to get injected with something, take drugs, or have surgery. Meanwhile, none of these medical model approaches actually teaches you how to gain back control of this protection mechanism, turn it off so that you can actually live free. Now, the second reason why fear ruins your chance of progress is because protection turns into elimination. Your body and brain want to keep you safe. If you're in pain doing certain movements, what makes the most logical sense is to eliminate some of these things from your life so that your pain isn't there. The problem is you become less of a person, and if you do this months after month after month or year after year after year, next thing you know, you can't do the things you used to be. Maybe you were someone who ran thousands of miles a year and you were proud about that. You want to keep doing that and you're young enough to keep doing that, but because of fear, because of symptoms and pain, now you're back to just maybe walking 45 minutes a day, and anything above that increases your pain. Maybe you enjoy yard work. Maybe you pride yourself on being a DIY person. You like trimming your bushes, you like planting trees and shrubs and mulching and crazy things like that. Even though you're young, you should be able to do that. Because of your pain and symptoms, you have to eliminate some of these things. You have to start paying people to do them for you. And not because you're bored and you want to use your time somewhere else, because you have to. You have to eliminate these things that you like, because these things that you like are causing you pain and symptoms. What you think is helping you is actually hurting you. This reduction mindset or mentality actually feeds this fear, because now not only do you not do these things that you know that you used to be able to do, you can't right now because of pain and symptoms, but because you're eliminating them, you never get to face them head on and address and actually try to approach them from a healing perspective. It's like that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's very similar to that. You can actually gain back these things that you should be able to do, no matter your age, whether you're in your 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s, or 30s, you can gain these things back, but you have to view these things from a lens of safety. We have to create a different environment for your brain and body to experience these things, along with a very strategic and intentional graded exposure experience. Now, you can probably imagine changing your relationship with pain. This conversation around this isn't really going to happen at your PT office or in your surgeon's office, or maybe with your MRI plastered to the wall as your spine surgeon tells you that you're broken. No, and it's not going to be found on a 30-second or 60-second Instagram reel that you found on social media. This is actually going to take work. It takes diving blending into your unique situation, your personality, and your experience with pain. The most important part about this process is not accepting where you are and being willing to put in the work, make the investments you need to make to see that happen. So instead of looking for that missing stretch or exercise or maybe procedure that your doctors just came out with, you have to do an actual audit of your life and see, like, how is my relationship with my pain? What are my thoughts towards it? What am I doing to change this filter that I'm viewing myself from? Once you can do that, you can create an environment where you're actually able to heal. Now, as you can imagine, this process of overcoming fear, not just from a mental perspective, but a physical perspective, is a very individualized process because you are very different than me. My symptoms are very different than your symptoms, right? And your symptoms are different than the person who's gonna watch this video behind you. So a blanket approach, a blanket statement that the internet tends to feed is not going to serve you. You really have to make sure that what you're doing is very specific for you. And the changes and tweaks and modifications you make are because it's the way your body is responding. And this is why what actually works with beating years and years of chronic back pain is more of a hybrid relief approach. It's not just mechanical, it's not just exercise. You have to address things both from a mental perspective and a mechanical perspective, and not in separate. You have to bridge that gap and make these two things connect to see a transformation. And the mindset stuff, the movement stuff, the exercise stuff, there's all these things are weighed differently in the world of getting out of back pain. A lot of people would prefer to do the exercises, the stretches that treat their symptoms because they can notice a difference right away. But that is symptom treatment. It's not lasting relief. It's not a transformation in your pain process, right? And this is something that I dive deep into inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program, and it has to be on an individual basis, right? But if that is you, if you're like, I feel like I am missing something, right? I'm doing the stretches, I've done everything, I've tried everything, and it's not working. It may just be a simple conversation that we have. These are the concepts. This hybrid relief method is something that I teach in depth, step by step inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program. Reach out. It's a simple conversation. We can see where you're at and whether or not what I do can actually help you. fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. There's also a link in the description box below this video. And I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section below this video, is fear something that you know is in your way? I'd love to hear what you're afraid of and what you're trying to overcome. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode.